You are listening to the Bring Joy Forward podcast. Conversations to explore, heal, and grow. You can find us on bringjoyforward.com and join us in our community group on Facebook. We now take you to the episode. Thank you for joining us. Hello, and welcome to the Bring Joy Forward podcast. I am Shannon Dias with Imagine If.
I'm Stacy Piccolo with Mind Movement Coaching.
I'm Shannon Brown with Open Door Healing.
And I'm Ramona Crabtree-Falkner with Authentic Life Journey.
And we appreciate you being with us today. We're talking about springing forward or not, because we've all been talking about the energy of just all around us, kind of the energy of the universe, the earth, everything is happening right now, our own internal clocks as we're moving from this spring energy into the late spring energy, winter into spring, into late spring energy, and what we would normally be feeling as pick up and go and start manifesting those things and putting into action everything that we've been kind of sitting with over the winter time. Some of us are finding that we're still wanting to hibernate and cocoon. So we thought we'd kind of talk about that a little bit and validate those feelings for those of you who might still be feeling that. Talk a little bit about, there's eclipses happening and things like that too that might be playing into it, and maybe give you some tools along the way to do that. And I thought we'd start with Shannon down there in the corner and talk a little bit about how you're feeling and maybe some tools to get up and going.
So yes, I am definitely feeling it harder than usual to get out of that winter, laziness, cocoon, wanting to spring forward and take action. I'm just tired, and then the energies just seem to be very, wild out there. And so one of the ways that I'm finding on those things that I've made goals for that I want to work through this year is through, of course, community, having a couple of friends that hold me accountable. Like, how are you doing? Not like saying, oh, bad girl, or, anything like that. But it's, how are you doing today? How many, what was your water intake or something to that effect? Were you able to exercise? How are you putting more healthy foods into your life? Just things like that. So having somebody else to talk to take the journey, maybe on a healthy body. We're not necessarily saying losing weight, but just making my body more healthy, because the healthier my body is, the less energy I have to spend on working on that. And I can use it on things that actually I want to, like painting or bringing joy wherever I can. So that's just one of the ways, is having somebody that you can be accountable to, but in a nice way, right? In a supportive way. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, I like that.
Supportive. Yes. Instead of saying, you didn't do this right. Well, no, I'm too old to get a slap on the hand anymore. I'm like, I'm going to have this glass of wine if I want. But then the question is that glass of wine in alignment with what I want for a healthy body? And so that is a question that was, brought up recently, is what I'm doing in alignment with the goals that I am trying to do. And so I thought that was a very helpful tool also.
Yeah, just considering that question always is, like, are you following your intentions? Are you aligned? I like that.
Yeah, just being in that space, being intentional, and community is so important. I just started joined basically a group of us that are doing fitness accountability, same kind of thing. And it's something that I always struggle with, and also have been just not really riding the spring energy very much. Still kind of, holding back a little bit, still kind of processing, still sitting in that wintry, cocoony vibe, and sitting in that space. But it's gotten me into the lightsaber dojo, which is how I do my exercise, put in my VR headset and go in the lightsaber dojo and battle for a while. It's important to find whatever makes sense to you. Like, it doesn't have to be, what's on the top 10 ways to do this, on your sticker. And if you're feeling like you still need that slower time, that slower space, then take it, and just honor where your body is and where your spirit is, and look for little ways to, to go around that and motivate a little bit. For me, it was a lightsaber dojo. Yeah. Ramona, did you want to add anything to just some tools and tips?
Moving your body. I mean, that to me is the most important thing. So with my own experience over the last months, with this transition, I definitely had that dragging feeling. I had a pretty serious case of anxiety going as we transitioned, immediately from pretty much the day after the spring equinox, like it set in and lasted for about a week. And then had some other things happen that I had to, I finally got it to level off, and then I was able to feel more balanced. But then I woke up one morning again at 2:00 in the morning. It was like, all right, what did I eat the night before that is affecting the anxiety? And so I just heard intuitively, get on your mat. So I just came in, rolled my mat out, and started moving through asana or posture in yoga. And I'm not a flow girl. It's just that's not my yoga practice, but that's all my body wants to do right now, because that anxiety, that tension, that desire to not do anything, to be, hanging out in the cave, is out of alignment with what I need right now. And so for me, getting on that mat, Stacy passed over a super fun playlist for me, and so I popped that on and let that kind of roll through me while
cool.
moving through my practice. And then and then I got off the mat, and then no more anxiety, and I was inspired, and I was ready to do things. And I will say that was a key for me. Like once I had that practice with that particular playlist, that was it.
I'm so happy it was good for you. I wasn't sure if you like it. I'm glad.
And so I've been on
community
since that day, and so anything that is going to invite you to shift the energy, Shannon Brown uses tapping with regularity for us. And although tapping is not my go-to practice, it is absolutely an amazing source to move the energy.
Definitely.
Emotion code is another practice that I use to just move that energy. But so I know that, especially through the back end of the winter weeks before the spring equinox came, a huge letdown, I guess, of energy was happening for me. And so I had to really just get into the dirt and be in that shadow work. And what I will say in regards to what I'm experiencing with this transition is this concept that's been really top of mind for me, and it's been top of conversation with my clients, as well as I think it's going to be a blog post, but it's the, when you're planting your seeds for spring, you take a shovel and you dig up the dirt. So that means everything that's been in the dark is now being brought up to the light.
Yeah.
That's not comfortable. When we dig in and bring it up, we are lighting or putting a spotlight on it and saying, okay, you need to be given attention, because that is the fertilizer for the seeds that we are planting. So whatever it is that's being shifted or moved or awakened or whatever you call it, that raising it up into the light and healing it is the fertilizer for that soil to grow that new vision.
Nice.
I like it. Yeah, definitely. I feel like that's just the energy of like the beginning of April, end of March situation, and just moving forward now. But also, I don't know, let's just be real. Like, this is not regular spring energy. This is not your average spring. Like, you know, I don't know. Usually I'm like, oh, you know, this is just, I'm not sure exactly. Actually, there's a lot of things I feel like that are happening here. You know, it's not just one thing. Like, I think you said the planets, the elections this year, actually, I don't know if you all know this, but there are fish in the Florida Keys that are spinning in circles and they just can't stop spinning and they don't know why. Some people say the North and South poles are shifting. Like, who knows? Weird things are going on. So for me, like my March was really cool. So it was like my birthday month. I was, you know, working at farmers markets with our jewelry line. Then I had a nice big birthday dinner. Then I came with you all, had our little retreat getaway vacation thingy. I had a little getaway with my cousins the next week, who I've never even hung out with in my adult life, which was amazing. But also we talked about like things when we were kids that we didn't know at the time. And it was like, whoa, a little traumatic too. Then I had my best friend from high school come and stay with me, and with only one day in between. So it was a super busy month, and people were like, oh, you know, the energy is so crazy. It feels so hot, like so harsh and blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm not really feeling that this time. But then I slowed down and it was like, whoa. So I feel like some like core serious fears came up, you know, like some things that haven't hit the light in a little while. Right. And now though, like, so I definitely took some time off last month. You know, I felt like I should enjoy my birthday month because who knows how long we'll all be here. But then I really am like seriously getting back to work in April, and I'm very driven and I'm like excited and also nervous. But it's like that excitement and that propelling forward feels like it's like hitting up against something. And I feel that in my body. And it's, for me, I think I've probably said this on this podcast before, maybe the audience can relate, but it feels like a tightening, a stiffness, a rigidness. If I don't keep moving, my body like crunches into this little shell of a thing, right? So that's why tapping, love it. You know, it's moving the energy in such a subtle way, but it's really just changing your mood so quickly in my world, right? And then I actually really like shaking. I don't know. I'm sure like some people do this, but I shake a lot. Sometimes like the back of my thighs get really tight. And I worked with a somatic experiencing practitioner a few years ago. And she told me, like, she said, why do you think the back of your legs get tight when you're in survival mode? Like, why do you think? And I was like, oh, I don't know. She's like, because your body wants to run. Like you are like wanting flight, you know? So I'm like, so I would like simulate running in a chair, or I would like actually run, or I just shake my legs out. And it really helps. I shake my arms, I shake my legs. I do body tapping too, you know? So yes, you just have to move. Like Ramona was saying, sometimes I just crawl onto the yoga mat. Who knows what I'm going to do? Doesn't look like anything sometimes. It doesn't matter. It just needs to, you know, shift, move. Anything that will create a shift, do it. Doesn't matter. Even if it's like, just go watch a movie if you really can't handle it anymore, or, you know, go jump rope. Like there's so many different things you can do to just switch your current state, you know?
Yeah. Go for a swim. Well, and I think that's it. Like you're talking about all these changes. My personal theory is that there are a lot of changes that are happening. And those of us that are more attuned to it, more sensitive to it, feeling it more strongly, and it's affecting us much more severely. And those of us who are empathic are feeling the hurt of so many things, I think, right now at the same time. So we've got shifts, you know, actual environmental shifts that are happening, that's moving that energy around. And that's affecting how you normally go through your life, and this normal time that you're going through it, you might do things a little bit differently. And so if you are somebody who, you know, like me, who works by the seasons and the moon and utilizes that energy, and you're like, this should be the time when these things are flowing, but it seems to be a little bit differently, a little bit more erratic, I've been finding. And for me, it's just been really diving in and allowing myself to connect and to listen. And Stacy, you brought up too, like you really noticed it when you paused. And I think that that's a big indicator too of what's happening out in the world right now, where there's so many people that are moving so fast and they're not being intentional and they're not aware of what's going on. And so they're constantly in this state of, going through the rat race, so to speak. And they're not feeling and experiencing all of these things that are happening. And then something comes in like that. And a lot of people, I think, are not prepared to handle it as it it's happening to them. And so it becomes, I know for me, I've had days where I drank so much water through the course of the day and went a little bit slower than I normally do, gave a little bit more, ate a little bit more green vegetables than I normally do, kind of thing, because I just sensed that there was, this need for my body to be healing a little extra, than it, like I said, than it normally does. But I think we're just feeling so much of what's happening out there. You mentioned a lot of things for tools too, and we didn't bring up creative visualizations yet, which I think is a really easy tool and used in so many different ways. Shannon and I use them frequently, almost daily, I would say. And it can be as simple as taking a pen or pencil or anything that you have that makes a mark on something and just, take some time for yourself to just sketch. And it can be hash lines and circles and, go back to when you were a kid and you were in science class and or math or history, depending on where you fall. And you were not really paying attention. And so you're scribbling, not really paying attention, scribbling in your notebook or whatever. Bring that back and see what comes up when you're scribbling these, random things down. Just put a notepad, by your desk. Throw some paint around. If you've got kids or grandkids, get into whatever they're doing and get messy with them and just be more tactile, be more real, go outside and get with the earth. Plant flowers, or if you're not one, to do that, just feel them, go take pictures of them, just connect, put the technology down and connect to that, because I do think it's a wild space out there and it's seemingly not slowing down. This year's got a lot of stuff coming at us. We've got the eclipse. We're recording this at a time that the eclipse has not happened. You will hear this at a time when it already has. But there's so much energy behind that. Not even just energy of, the metaphysical energy, but if you talk about people are planning trips and, they're buying flights, and there's states that are making warnings to say, hey, you might not be able to get gas. And so all of these things affect, the individual that's in those areas, even if they're not aware of the metaphysical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the underlying theme of what we're saying today is whatever you're feeling, feel it. It's okay. It's no feeling is bad. Feelings are feelings, and you have choices on what you do with them. And if you choose to grab a blankie and a stuffed animal and watch your, binge your favorite Netflix show, or you get in a lightsaber dojo, it's whatever works for you. Just find those tools to do that. Do any of you have anything you wanted to add before we close it out?
I think just I like what you said about the speeding along and slowing down. You took time to slow down this month or whatever. I normally take time to slow down regularly, but this month was like different. So I just feel like, I don't know, like speeding, hitting a wall, being like, oh my God, oh, okay. So if people can regularly take some time to be present, do their thing, that's nice because it doesn't hit you all at once, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Agreed. And on that note, we want to thank you for hanging out with us today on the Bring Joy Forward podcast. You can find us everywhere that podcasts are. We'd love to see you in community. You can go to bringjoyforward.com and you'll find all the ways that you can get involved and hang out with us. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You have been listening to the Bring Joy Forward podcast. Conversations to explore, heal, and grow. You can find us at bringjoyforward.com. And we'd love to have you join us in our community Facebook group. Thank you for listening.